Week 3 of Football Friday on ABC 13. Friday night at 11:15. Game of the week is Heritage and EC Glass at City Stadium. If you want, you can call it Heritage at EC Glass, or you can call it EC Glass at Heritage. All right, now that you're done laughing, Justin Feldkamp joined me. Not many laughs with Justin. We can have a good time, but serious talk. High school football. Justin talks about Rockbridge County. He talks about the game he was at last week, Jefferson Forest and Stand River. He reviews the Mike the Coach segment that ABC 13 Football Fridays had going. Plus, we talk about those red-hot Amherst Lancers and much, much more. Justin Feldkamp, ABC 13 co-host for Football Friday on the Sports Buffet podcast.
Always a pleasure to have Justin Feldkamp on the Sports Buffet podcast, talented co-host of Football Friday, along with Dennis Carter. Pleasure for me to work behind the scenes with Justin and Dennis. And Justin, Amherst County definitely not working behind the scenes so far early on the season. 2-0. Northside and William Fleming have both gone down. This week they travel to GW, and I know you saw Amherst in the preseason scrimmage as well against North Hall. What impresses you about the Lancers?
Well, the speed has returned after a couple of down years where they just couldn't really get the running game going. They have definitely done that with Sidney Sandage and Marquise Brown. I mean, you give them a gap that's open for 1.5 seconds, they're going to hit it in 1 second. And that half second is the difference between a tackle for a gain of 3 yards and a 97-yard touchdown run. I mean, they were so quick to that line of scrimmage and then just burst through the holes and to the linebackers, through the secondary, and they were just gone. I mean, 2 runs of 90 yards or more against Northside was just really impressive, and it seems like, at least for the first 2 games, and you have to question how good is Northside this year, and definitely how good is William Fleming. They've struggled drastically the last few years, but that's the only question mark right now is the opponent, but it looks like they are definitely back to form.
If you had me list my top 5 or top 10 surprises so far in the infancy of the high school football season of 2012, I would say Jefferson Forest offensive play, because no way did I think they would put up as big of numbers as they put up against Halifax and especially Stand River. Losing Marcus Jones I thought was just going to be a crippling loss to the Cavs, but not so in Week 2 against the Golden Eagles. What stood out to you about the Cavs?
Passing game, we were talking about it after the show last Friday. I mean, 331 yards. When's the last time that a JF quarterback threw for that many yards and basically won the game with the passing offense as opposed to the running game? And after the game, that was the game I was at, Don Rice, Jefferson Forest head coach, basically said that Stand River was committed to stopping the run against us. So, if they're giving us the passing game, we can try to utilize it. And that's rare. I've kind of been the one who said that there's kind of really only one team in the area that can win games with their passing attack, and that was Brookville. But at least against Stand River, Jefferson Forest proved that they can also do that.
And it could be a very fun September 21st as JF and Brookville will match up in Forest, and both teams realistically could be 4-0. Somebody that's going to look to get back in the swing this week and get a W is the Gretna Hawks after a first week trouncing down at Essex. They have a bye last week, but they're traveling to Tunstall, and Tunstall beat Dan River, and they hung tough against Rustburg, a much improved Tunstall team, but I think I would not want to be a Gretna player having practiced about 9 or 10 straight days with Kevin Saunders now.
Yeah, that's a tough loss going such far distance to the East Coast and losing to Essex, a team that has won some and lost some and had a good playoff history with them. But Tunstall comes in, just like you said, they've put up some points, and Coach Blake Brown's been there forever and knows how to coach, and we'll see. I mean, Gretna has kind of dominated this matchup in recent years, and I would like to think that they'll get back on track. It's one thing about Coach Saunders, he kind of admits that he knows that his team will get better each week throughout the season, and they haven't been like the dominant 14-0, 13-0 teams, or 5, 6, 7, 8 years ago, but they'll be physically improved as the season progresses, and I look for them to take a big step forward against Tunstall.
What else has surprised you or stood out to you in the column of good or bad so far in the first 2 weeks?
Well, we talked about it a little bit north side. They kind of been the big dogs in the Blue Ridge District, and I was kind of surprised at how not bad, but just how unimpressive they were against Amherst County. I thought that was going to be a lot closer game, but Bert Torrance's club just kind of didn't really have it going at all. I don't know if that was week one jitters or what, but I was surprised at that. Maybe EC Glass. I don't think the opponents that they've played the last couple of weeks, the first 2 weeks, are going to, be any big-time playoff contenders, but the fact that they've installed a new offense, and sometimes with high school kids it can take a while to get going and know and how to adjust to the different coaching schemes, and really that's been the case. They put up quite a bit of points in their first 2 weeks of the season, and it'll be interesting to see what they can do this weekend against Heritage, and then definitely when they get into the heart of their district schedule to see if that offense is going to be able to put up that many points against some better defenses.
And, a matchup I'm looking forward to is, just as I peruse the schedule a little bit, September 21st could be a big Friday. We have Brookville and JF possibly, but also another interesting one. Rockbridge County has Porter Abel, the son of former Amherst County coach Scott Abel. They'll make the return trip down this year to Amherst County, and Porter Abel threw up some big numbers in week one, led the Wildcats to a win in week two as well. Rockbridge County could be a very quiet team this year just because they're not in, the major city of Lynchburg, Roanoke, or Danville, and maybe Jason White's squad can fly under the radar for a while.
Yeah, I think so. They're going to play some teams that are kind of outside our viewing area. They're going to play Fort Defiance. So, like you said, kind of flying under the radar. But, Porter Abel is dynamic. He is fast. And from the quarterback position, they utilize him big time in the running game. They're going to be a run-dominated team, but the quote that Jason White gave me in the preseason was, they might not throw the ball more, but they're going to throw the ball smarter. So right. I think just a year more of experience with Porter Abel as the quarterback. He's got more weapons in his offensive arsenal that he can rely on, and they're going to be tough to beat. I posed a question on our Facebook page. If Northside's 0-2 and Rockbridge County's 2-0, the competition obviously is a little more stiff for Northside versus Rockbridge's early portion schedule, but I'd argue that Rockbridge has kind of got to be the team to beat right now in that district.
Yeah, it's going to be a fun year in the Blue Ridge. Before we get to some other topics, one of my favorite segments so far early on, and Greg Mullins and Mike Rourke, big thanks to them for participating in the Mike the Coach segment. Really takes the fans inside the game, and I know you and Dennis obviously are not at that game where that's taking place, so it's kind of fun for you guys to see it right then too, and you guys are on sidelines, so you see things, but it's really fun to see, I think for the viewers, a inside look at high school football.
Oh yeah, inside access. You were literally going inside the locker room with the coaches for pregame speeches, and on the sidelines, relaying plays in, talking to players, motivating players, breaking down certain plays, what they're saying during timeouts. It is really inside access high school football and Football Friday, and so far this season, our photographer Dan Heffner has done a great job with that piece, and like you said, it really takes you inside and kind of gives you a different perspective, one that you definitely don't get from the stands.